I've asked myself this question several times. Am I really an entrepreneur if I have a job, especially one that is actually sustaining me? And I've come to this conclusion. Yes, I am. Having a job doesn't negate my entrepreneurial journey or my desire to one day see my business stand out. There are a few reasons why I choose to manage my business and at the same time keep a job. First, my bills will not magically get paid on their own. Personal and business expenses don't care whether your business is doing well or not. They still ought to be paid. So until my business gets to the point where it can sustainably run on its own, as well as cover all my bills, I will keep my job. Secondly, I believe that there is still a lot I can learn by working in a company and being part of a team. I've been part of a startup team as well as part of a team in a large corporation. Working in both environments have given me the opportunities to gain knowledge and skills that I use in my business today. Lastly, my job and my business complement each other. The contacts and connections I have made through my employment are very valuable. So at this point, it makes sense to keep them both. So what about you? What are your reasons for having a job while running your own business? Let me know in the comments. Of course, managing a business and keeping a job isn't simple. It can definitely take a toll on you. Over time, I've developed certain strategies that have made it somewhat easier for myself. Firstly, lots of planning. I have developed a timetable that gives me an overview of everything that takes my time, from my job, my business, learning a language, creating YouTube videos, going out with friends, just to name a few. I know when each activity should take place and for how long. I take it a step further by breaking each part into specific tasks. Planning itself takes lots of time because I do not want to rush through it. And when planning, I ensure that I am realistic with the time I allocate to each activity. Secondly, I dedicate time for my business after work. I find it more convenient to work on my business once I'm done with my job. And this means working 2 to 3 hours every evening and a full 8 hours on the weekend. Of course, this is very tiring on some days, and this brings me to my next point, which is sacrifice. There are certain days that I'm too tired to do anything, and I have to push myself. So this is where sacrifice comes in. I always ask myself that if I can push myself for my own employer, why can't I do that for my own business? Once this thought kicks in, I find myself with a little bit of motivation to do my own business. However, there are days that I'm willing to sacrifice some time after work for my business, but I do not know exactly where to start. To avoid such moments, I started writing exactly what I want to achieve the day before, usually 1 or 2 specific tasks. So once it's time for me to work on my business, I simply have to go to my notes and see what I have planned. I also use the same strategy for my job, and this helps me to stay focused and motivated. Another strategy that has helped me to create a good balance between having a job and running a business is flexibility. There are days that my employer requires me to work out of station or to take extra assignments. I try as much as possible to plan my business around such days. By so doing, my business does not take a back seat. My last strategy is to stick to the plan. If Tuesday 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. is for my business, I try to get the job done. I do not let distractions take away that time. This way, I do not feel like I've lost my social life. Now, even with all the planning, the discipline, and the structure, things are not always so smooth. Running a business and keeping a job is not always so easy. Here's the reality. There are days when I feel inefficient because I can't complete all my tasks. But I've learned to accept that I will not always be 100% efficient. Other days, I question if it even makes sense to keep running the business while having a job. When such thoughts come, I try to go to the why. That is the reason I started the business in the first place and the vision I have for it. This helps me to be motivated again and to stay focused. Sometimes I get completely overwhelmed. It affects my mood, it affects my performance. On such occasions, I have learned to take a break even for a few days before diving back in. Rest isn't laziness, it's part of the process. Finally, I've realized that support matters a lot. For me, this means having a friend with whom I can discuss my business, a mentor I can learn from, and an accountability partner to keep me focused. No one should be walking this path alone, so having a support community has helped me to keep going even when things get hard. So I've come to the end of this video. I hope this helps you to create a better balance between your job and your business. Do you have other tips or strategies that has helped you so far? Please drop them in the comments. I would love to read them. Please do not forget to like, to subscribe, and to share this video if you found it interesting. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.